game into a game of chance. Will he purge in time? Will he not? So, Remind notices that Fav is going to try to creep jack him or try to push or whatever, and he's like, "Well, screw that. I'm gonna go run away because I can't fight that with, I can't fight an undead and creeps at the same time." Undead, however, is easy mode, and so he can easily pull the creeps. And notice he didn't run into the creeps and start fighting, because that will get you owned. What he did was he pulled the creeps, because hey look, there's a buffer between the orc army and his army. If he disengages the creeps and he starts fighting the orcs, the creeps will go away. They will simply stop fighting him. If he, however, had run in there, his fiends would be up in front and he would lose a bunch of units. Now you notice Ensnare and even the creeps a little bit are doing a lot of damage here. You can see that he is picking off some fiends, but the main thing is that the Blademaster is going all out to try to get rid of the statues. And that is really an important point, because it's very important to get rid of these statues. It's just very important to get rid of that. And now I guess what he did here is he said, I don't know why he went for the Dark Ranger, because he could obviously not kill it. He didn't have a stomp ready, or at least not one on the Death Knight. Now this is interesting. The Blademaster somehow dies, and I'm not sure why. He was clearly windwalk and there was no reveal. But maybe fiends just always hit invisible units, which is their own little fun buff, because they're crit fiends, despite the fact that everything else will miss. But, whatever. It's a small point, but it's useful. And he sees the Storm Chief and just getting ripped on. I mean, anytime you have the Orb of Corruption and you have more than one unit, you can really focus down mostly any unit. Just the negative armor really has a huge impact on the durability. So yeah, you saw the statues die really quickly, but it just doesn't really matter. He never really cast more than maybe one Frost Nova, and that also didn't matter because Frost armor is beastly. It slows kids down just as much as Nova does. Obviously it doesn't deal damage, but the thing is, your damage output is going to come from physical damage output. You're reducing everything's armor by 5. You know how much damage you do when they have negative 5 armor? Well, if they have negative 4, that's 22% damage increase, which is quite a bit. And, they just get chopped down all day. It's kind of nice. Useful stuff. So, Fav going to come in here and finish off the creep camp. He knows that he's pretty safe to fight because the Blademaster should be healing, the Torn Chieftain's getting revived. Easy creep camp there. For some reason, he actually decides not to go for it, or he screwed up the pull, but now he finally pulls it. He's going to go for his thingy here. But the main point, Frost armor really, you just want to get it because the Orc will focus down your stuff way too quickly. His entire army is melee. Hell, his entire army is the Blademaster, and that's certainly melee. And so getting rid of that annoyance is very, very useful. You significantly reduce damage output. Not only do you get the 3 armor, which gives you roughly 16% damage reduction, but also you have another 25% damage reduction based on their attack speed. And that's quite useful. And if he tries to run away, well, he's got the 50% slow or whatnot. And it gets very happy very quickly. So, let's see. Blademaster's going to come in for a creep check here, and it's not going to be super deadly because he's got Frost armor, he's got heroes and what have you. The Dark Ranger got himself a new invulnerability potion, and it's go time. So, Death that you can see is getting focused. Guess what? It's Frost armor time. And let's see how quickly he can purge it. No. Stomp. No purge. No. But he manages to Death Pact in time. If he had purged if he had gotten a single purge, he would have gotten the kill on the Death Knight. And now he quickly, of course, passes the invulnerability potion because he's scared of that. And pow, focus down to the Blademaster and you are dead. Again, no purge, the Death Knight manages to run away. And this is, again, why the statues are so amazing. The Death Knight is surviving because of statues. And look, damage output, 39 health. Lived because of statues, and because they're never getting purged on. Happy times, basically. So yeah, it does kind of suck that part of this game, the reason that people can win is because of random number generation. Because, oh look, I'm not affected by purge. I can survive anything, because I have Frost armor on. And that's really unfortunate. One more crit, one purge would have killed the Death Knight. True. But, I think that you really shouldn't be weighing your chances of winning the game on random chance. It happens, and this is clearly one of the examples of that actually happening. But, at the same time, Remind did make, I would say, a few mistakes. And just, he abuses heroes a little bit too much. The thing is, it's very hard for orcs to know exactly how much abusing to do, because you have to win the game. The only way to win the game, I should say, is by abusing the fact that you have a Blademaster who can do tons of damage and can walk away from anything. Yes. But at the same time, if you lose your hero, you screwed up. So you have to be a little bit careful, how much abuse can you put your hero through? Obviously, Rumen put his hero through too much abuse. If he had actually simply run completely away from the battle, just run away, he would have basically outrun the Fiend shots to the point where he would have regenerated enough health to not die to the Crypt Fiend attack. And so he wouldn't have had to tavern it, he could have just speed scrolled his heroes, his TC and his grunts away, and then just regrouped and fought without losing a huge hero, wasting all his money, and giving a ton of experience away. So, kind of an important point. Now, as for armor, the way armor works, positive armor is somewhat hyperbolic in its increases. Now, every point of armor gives you 6% effective hit points increase on your base hit points. Armor will never affect spell damage. Frost Nova will always do 150, or 70% of that to heroes. But your actual physical damage output, or physical damage taken, 6% effective hit points, which means if you have a 1,000 hit point unit, normally it has 1,000 hit points. If it has 10 armor, it essentially has 1,600 hit points. It can take 600 more damage before it dies. If you have 100 armor, you have a 600% increase in durability, which means it has 7,000 effective hit points, which means it takes 1/7 as much damage, because it needs to take 7 times that normal hit percent to actually die. And so at 16.6 repeating armor, then you've got 100% effective hit point increase, and so you've got 50% damage reduction. Now you can see the difference between 16.6 being 1/2 and 100 being 1/7. You can see that the damage reduction kind of tapers off. It's certainly not additive. So it's sort of logarithmic in that it never reaches a limit. You don't sort of break at a certain point. It can essentially reach infinity damage reduction if you really have infinity armor. But, it tapers off. So, negative armor, however, is a logarithmic function. Actually, that might be the wrong term. Basically, it has a limit. The limit is at double damage. If you have negative, let's say 5 armor, you'll take close to 20, let's say 7% reduction, and that's at negative 5 armor. Negative 20 armor is not 120% damage taken. It's not. Negative infinity armor is double damage, and that's just all there is to it. So if you think about those two concepts,